Hello, and welcome to SPS Unscripted, a podcast between two friends who have never met, living in opposite ends of the UK, connected by a rare neurological disease called stiff person syndrome. Our journey to soul sisterhood started via messages, supportive messages, which has now grown into a wonderful journey of empathy, encouragement, and learning to live the best version of ourselves. Join your hosts, L and M, for some cosy chit-chat. Pour yourself a drink, make yourself comfortable as we discuss all things life. Hello, and welcome to today's episode, where we discuss something we all do and need, which is sleep. It's a biological phenomenon. It's still not fully understood. And yet today we will be discussing how important it is, particularly restorative sleep, but also rest and relaxation for overall well-being. So I've got my lovely friend at the other end. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks, face to face. It's so nice to see you this morning. How are you, Lindsay?
Good morning. I am good. It was a little bit of a poorly couple of weeks, wasn't it? Where I needed to take a break from that. So we always hold that in mind, don't we? That we press pause. And as you said, I am making an executive decision, Lindsay, that we're taking a break. Let your body just settle back down. And here we are again, discussing all things sleep. Fabulous.
All things sleep. And I think that rest and relaxation was much needed by both of us, as you say. And it's allowed us to come together today by just taking note that our bodies were not in a place, and our minds were tired too. So taking that moment to just pause and say, nope, this isn't happening this week. Let's just rest, relax, go into our space of almost a meditative state and just allowing life just to flow. And
yes.
That has allowed for today to take place. So
I did have to pull all my tools out of my toolbox, like everything that I've been, learning and teaching myself over the last 3 years, like everything back down to basics. And it was hard. So it was just pulling in the accumulation of everything from meditation to sitting on the step outside to breathing, just being silent, having a little bit of a cry, releasing emotions, physically trying to help myself with a little bit of movement, but not pushing too hard, because too much movement, as you know, can be just as harmful on an SPS body as not enough. So you don't move, you go stiff. You do move, and then you've got all those firing of the muscle fibers and things. Too much of that intensity has a knock-on effect, strangely enough, on the brain, and then overactive mind, a very fatigued mind. And you would think when you're very fatigued you would sleep. No, it's like the adrenaline punches and pushes, and it's just firing, and off it goes. And I am led there in my bed thinking, will I ever sleep again?
I think I can connect there, and I'm sure that many of the listeners will be able to connect. Can I just press pause for a moment and say thank you so much to everyone that has been tuning in. Lindsay and I thought perhaps we would have an audience of one or two, perhaps one of those being a family member, but this yes. podcast the seems to be growing, and we're having feedback. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you to 3 people who contacted me yesterday with some lovely feedback. 2 who do not have SPS. But have other health conditions, and they have tuned in and they've listened and they've said that they can really relate. So thank you so much for that. It really means a lot, and I know it means a lot, probably means a lot to you as well, Lindsay.
Absolutely.
Just to receive that feedback, so thank you. So yes, sleep. Well, I think, as you say, it's been a tough couple of weeks, and trying to find a place to allow our bodies to come back into a rhythm. And, I talk a lot about my circadian rhythm and trying to get that back into sync, because one night of bad sleep just pushes the cortisol for me. Which we know, sleep is a biological phenomenon. It is important for mind, body, for, psychological thought. It has a massive impact. And without it, we realise the how it can negate health, health credits, health benefits. So when we sleep, we have this bounty of health on a plate to us every single night. But yet it can be one of the most difficult things to do in a well-being process, a well-being journey, perhaps.
Isn't it strange, though, that we all need it, we all do it, but there is so little known about it. But what we do know is toxins are purged and cells are replenished. So that's like the two most important things. So if you already have disease activity in the body, no matter SPS or any other disease, how much more poorly that is going to make you feel. So I absolutely agree with everything that you're saying, and how do we do that? Because the more pressure you put on yourself of, I need to sleep, I need to sleep, because I'm going to continue to feel very unwell if I don't sleep, the more pressure you put on yourself, the less likely it is that you're going to smoothly go off into the land of nod. So I know I have a sleep routine that I do my best to adhere by, and you do too, don't you, Em?
I do. I have a difficulty in relation to if I do not sleep, or I don't have restorative sleep, so there is, the quality and the quantity. It's about striking that balance as well.
Absolutely, yes.
So I can go from really struggling to sleep, where my body will only go into 10 minutes of sleep and I startle awake. And some of that, I know we've touched upon in our private conversations as friends, and not on the podcast, is my issues with central sleep apnea. But let's park that aside for today. That can be problematic, but it's also this rhythm where my body will go into 10 minutes of sleep and then I'll startle, and that will continue on. And that can happen for a couple of nights until I really have to work hard throughout the day of being in such a restful state. And that can mean being in my pajamas. So perhaps I've got dressed that day and my body is like, I just don't like this. I don't feel good. I'm feeling exceptionally tired. I'm sweating. My body's working really, really hard. My blood sugars are in my boots, and I'm not diabetic. I have hypoglycemia, and we often talk about me running for the smoothies, but trying to avoid that fast-acting sugar. And that is something that lack of sleep has an impact upon, is regulating blood sugars. So for someone who has diabetes or indeed hypoglycemia, it has a knock-on effect. So then the body's dipping and diving all day. And so I often find myself having to pop back into my pajamas, and it may very well be that I need to go back to bed and just lie and allow my body to just go into a very relaxed meditative state. And that's where the mindfulness and the relaxation and the meditation and the ASMR has to come into place. And eventually,
sorry, darling, I was just going to say, you're not going to bed as in to sleep. You're going to bed to allow your body just to go into a replenishment mode.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I think if you're constantly in and out of sleep during the day, that can be another reason as to why you're not able to sleep
at night.
During the night.
Absolutely. And I think another point when you pointed out, Lindsay, which is really important, is the brain is such a strange and magnificent organ, but the brain can attach itself to the bed. It can change its process of thinking that the bed is, when you don't sleep, that the bed is a place not for sleep if you are lying awake all the time. So it will not necessarily think, I'm in bed and I'm going to sleep. And therefore that just adds into the cycle. But it's very difficult when you're in a chronic fatigue spiral. And I know we've both recorded our monologues on chronic fatigue. The synchronicity there again.
I know.
Oh, I love it. Honestly, it just makes me laugh. It really makes me smile. Because neither of us knew that we were recording fatigue in the monologues.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
But with the chronic fatigue cycles is that you do require bed rest, but medical professionals understandably are saying try not to have prolonged periods of bed rest. And I imagine that that's part of the cycle, that and deconditioning. But so it's very difficult to strike that balance some days. And I think another thing is I know within my journey, certainly, and sharing it with you and sharing it with others, there's so much contradictory evidence, material on this. So you think, okay, I'll try it this way. And then you read something else and it tells you not to do that. So you think, oh, holy smoke, I don't know where to go with this. That'll keep you awake.
I think it is coming onto a path of your own personal journey and bringing into that environment in your journey of your bedroom, for instance.
Yes.
Bring into that bedroom everything that brings peace to your heart. So for one person, it could be candles, twinkly lights. It could be no lighting at all. I'm talking about relaxing the body down before you even entertain sleep.
Yeah.
And bring that environment around you. Like you said, the bed can start to become a place really that you almost dread going to because you're like, I need to sleep, but I can't sleep. Mm-hmm. So make that environment as beautiful, as relaxing, as cozy as possible. Maybe a little bit of whether it's spa music, jazz music, classical music, meditation music. Really bring that ambiance into your bedroom for sleep time, like 2 hours before bed if you can. No computers, no phones, we were talking yesterday when we were about blue light, the effects of that. And I often find fresh air coming into the bedroom as well at night. That helps just bring it all down, let everything calm into center, whatever it is, whatever it looks like for you. And I also think as well, material of bedding, clothing that you're wearing at bedtime, everything, bring it just it's almost like a pamper session every night, isn't it? That routine. Mm-hmm. But it's different for everyone. So as you say, there's different information here, different information there. Oh, listen to Lindsay saying all of this stuff. That's not really what I'm into. And that's okay. Find your own way, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And as I say to you, you do you.
Yes.
So, whatever it is for you. I mean, that's kind of like my bedroom space, how it is for me. And then all the lights go out and my earphones go in, and it's generally something of information that serves me. So my thought process as I'm going into sleep is one coming from a positive state of mind. So after I've done my nighttime gratitudes, when the lights go out, nighttime gratitude, which is the same in the morning of thank you for my legs, thank you for my lungs, thank you for my heart, thank you for this day. And then my earbuds go in. And like I said, something that is of service to me. So something of positivity, upliftment, but calm. Nothing that's going to excite my brain and my body. And then go into sleep for those first couple of hours that I do go into sleep. Because at the moment I'm waking at 2:30 and then that's, it's broken sleep from there on in. But for those hours, I am going into a sleep of a positive mindset. Don't overload your brain with, these films that are really quite gruesome, or the news. Don't read the news. Don't watch the news. Don't do that before bed, you know, but reach for those things that really, really feed your soul, calm your heart, and make you feel good, settle your mind. Another thing is this eating before bed. Don't do it. I don't know what it is with you and I, but these gastric issues, acid reflux, I know we've both been working on not to eat past 5, 6 o'clock. But then obviously when we don't sleep, and as you say, like with the hypos and things, it's like finding that balance.
Yes.
And also not drinking at a certain time before bed. We are women of a certain age, and we will need to get up and tinkle.
We do. We do.
You know? So what does your nighttime routine look like? Because that's pretty much me. Oh, and the other thing is, you know, I probably drive you simple with it, but my skin, I can't cope with my skin. I need to be able to get the stubble off my legs, off my skin, because that can get me into a dreadful pickle and cause awful pain, and terrible restless legs and shooting pains and things. So that is another thing. And when the fatigue is heavy and hard, when I am not able to attend to that, there is then something else that causes trouble with sleeping. So I think that's pretty much like the picture for me, what I'm focusing on at the moment and what I have done for quite some time. So where are you, like your routine? What does that look like?
So, well, my routine is slightly different, as you know. My routine actually really starts a good few hours before bedtime, because I have a very busy mind, and old habits die hard, and adrenaline really, the adrenaline button, if there is one, but there must be one inside me, it gets pushed. And I need to be very, very careful that that adrenaline button is not pushed. And therefore, I have to be really present with myself and start to uncouple from the inner critic. Because, if she is allowed to run amok, then my bedtime routine is one that can extend till after midnight. So my preparation is usually that I try to make sure that I have the children's lunches ready. Or if I know that I don't have the energy to make sandwiches, or if it's something warm that they're going to be having that day, then I know that just getting the snacks out. But what I have learned from this, and it's quite important, is, to start asking for help, to say, go and grab your own snacks. You're all old enough, and they're great. And they'll be like, okay. And getting things looked out, so they're vitamins, and knowing that I'm still fulfilling a role. And you think, well, what's that got to do with sleep and a sleep routine? But for me, my mind would not uncouple from knowing that I haven't at least attempted that. Because where I am at present, I'm struggling to get up in the morning to be part of their daily routine. But a beautiful friend told me, just smile. And my morning routine is, a smile and I love you. Have a wonderful day. Have a great day. And I shut down that inner critic in the morning and say to her, well, I'm going to be there at evening. So you can just, you're grounded for today. You just go away. So as I say, my routine really starts from around 6 o'clock. And it's a gentle movement around the house with noise, family noise. But I've learned to be able to create this inner silence and the enjoyment of slow movement. Because before I would have been going to a dozen. So just slowly allowing my body, the adrenaline, to start to come down in my body. And I think, when we talk about this biological concept, is the serotonin then, I think, starting to be released to allow the melatonin, so I start to feel tired. So from there, I will go into my room, And whether it's a shower, I am starting to embark upon a bath again, but that really was fatiguing me, and that did not allow for sleep. It caused me to, as you say, wake with a horrible sensation several times throughout the evening. But when I'm having my shower, it's a moment of mindfulness. So instead of scrub, and rush like the old it's very much enjoying the feeling of the bubbles, enjoying the feeling of the loofah or the massage, tool that I use for the shower, enjoying my skin routine if I have the energy. This is on a good day, of course. Enjoying that, feeling the massage in my face, feeling the tension coming out of my face. It really is a moment of just being with myself. Different from being with myself throughout the day. This is, come on now, you've done well today. It's time for rest. The lights are low, as you say. The lights, I have a battery candle, and then I have a small night light, just to help with the vestibular, or else, there might be furniture and things on the floor. So just enough light to push the vestibular, but not excite it, as you say, And into my jammies. Bedding and jammies are very important for me. I've spoken to you about this with needing cotton.
Yes.
Ladies of a certain age, night flushings. Whoa, we could do 3 podcasts on that, I think. So being aware of the materials, cotton bed sheets are for me, and pyjamas, and keeping everything low light. The other part of that as well, Lindsay, is I think I said to you, I had the 2 10 o'clock tenors that would come in every night to have their chat with me, and I'd be like, I'm winding down, what is it? And they're like, because they have healthy bodies, but even so, they should be winding down at that time as well, and since then we've now got the 8 o'clock tenors coming in
bless them.
to have a wee chat. Or I will say, I'm now settling down for rest. I'm now settling down for bed. Is there anything that anyone needs from me before? So, I'm making it very clear to everyone, unless there's an emergency, this is me working down. And they appreciate that although it looks as though I'm lying in my bed awake for 2 hours, they understand it can take about 3 or 4 hours for my body and my mind to synchronise, so that the busy mind uncouples from anything that it was bothering it that day, uncouples from the old who thinks, well, the washing basket's not empty, and this is not done, and that's not done. And it seems strange, 5 years down the line, I'm still having to have that inner dialogue, but I am.
Well, if you think, though, we're, 40 and a little bit.
Yes, Lindsay, can I just stop you there?
What I was trying to say was, we have had 4 decades of training our brains to think with the inner critic. So where you say these past 5 years, for instance, you have been working on, shushing that inner critic. 5 years really isn't that long when it's 40 years of, that constant grilling in your head. When, I don't know whether it was day before yesterday, I'd said to you that I was trying to use this new analogy that I'd heard someone speak about with regards to treat your brain, so not so much as coming down on her, that inner critic, and trying to push her away and shush her, but console her as a naughty child. You wouldn't berate and yell at a naughty child, would you? You'd say, come to me, my darling, come sit. Let's see what's going on here. Be the one with the wisdom, as I said to you, be the grandparent to your inner child in your mind, and give her that reassurance, share your wisdom of what you know now, and let her be calm and peaceful after she's had her tantrum and acted out, and I am so on this journey right now with trying to do that, because Lindsay's brain can, for instance, there was a letter that came through the post this week, as you know, that I've discussed with you, with some information in it, and my poor wee brain, it was off. And it was gone, and it was really, really giving me a hammering, and I just got myself into such a state. So I had to just sit quietly and say, okay, come on, little Lindsay, what's going on in here now? Look at this letter and just say, well, isn't that interesting the way you've responded to that? It's okay. And be that confidant, your best friend, your grandma, all at the same time rolled into one, and just, as opposed to hush, be quiet and be quite stern, be like, come on, it's okay. It's okay. But very much a learning curve, and I am so, like I said, on this journey of trying my best to speak to myself this way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I've just been listening to you there, and well, my husband's from the Far East, and we often speak of Eastern approaches versus Western, and the Eastern approach to the mind, body, and has always been one of connection. That the mind and the body are one, and whereas the Western approach is that we have psychiatry, and then we have physical health, and they do not couple. But I think they're beginning to realise now, well, I know we are on a journey, and I'm not being demeaning, and my knowledge, I would say, is very in the category of laity, is that they're beginning to realise that there is a strong connection between mind and body, and particularly the gut being your second brain.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
yes,
as you say, with this gentle inner dialogue, it can sound incredibly bizarre to people that are not on this journey, or who are embarking upon this journey, because there's such a stigma attached to taking care of yourself, having an inner dialogue. What does that mean? What, you talk to yourself? Do you talk back? Actually, yes, I do. But I'm not mad. I'm the sanest I've ever been. And as you say, I often will say, come on now, you're okay. If there's something, I will often say to my husband, give me a day. Just give me a day to work through this. I just need to sit with myself and work through this. And then I start to feel my stomach starting to, the knots coming out. And I need to work through that throughout the day, because otherwise I will not sleep. And I have to actually have a moment where it's almost as though I compartmentalise it, and I do put it in a box and say, there is nothing that you can do with this. There is nothing, if it's out of my control. And for me, I surrendered it to God, and I say, well, you'll need to take care of this. It's bigger than me. Take care of it, because where I am in my journey, something, as you say, such as the letter, Lindsay, it can set us back weeks, months. It can just all of a sudden take us out of this path of healing and place us back into a cyclone. So we forget about the rest, relaxation, and sleep.
Yes.
And it's only when our bodies really come out of that we realise, I think, sometimes how important it is.
Yeah, I think with you saying that, that just brings to mind of, don't try and incorporate all of this into your nighttime routine out of panic because your whole world's upside down. It's a step at a time. So when something else does come in from the outside that feels like chaos is striking again, you're already in that routine. Because I think that's where I kind of fell over myself right at the beginning, was I wanted to be able to meditate. I needed to do it right now because I need to feel calm. But I was in such a heightened state. Meditation wasn't even a thing I could bring into my world. I had to do very, very slow baby steps. So please don't bring all that pressure on yourself if you feel like everything is in chaos at the moment. I said to my husband at the beginning of the week when he went off to work, because he's been having some challenges, and I keep saying to him, eye of the storm, baby. Be the eye of the storm where it is calm. And the chaos can just keep going and going and going around you. But if you're in the eye of the storm, you know you're there. It's calm. It's peaceful. You're in a good place. You're grounded. You're balanced. And then you can deal with the chaos going on outside you and around you, which is what I'm trying to say with the nighttime routine and needing sleep and all that wind down. Keep moving through it a step at a time, and it will all eventually come together. It's been 3 years for me, and like I said, I am still trying my best to bring this nighttime sleep routine into calm, into peace, because things will come in from the outside world and knock you sideways. It's how you deal with it is what matters, not what has actually happened, but how you deal with it, how you perceive it, how you break it down, you look at it, and then become peaceful and balanced with that situation or whatever it is that has gone on or happened, whether it's disease, whether it's finances, whether it's, I don't know, a work situation, whatever is going on in your life. This is for everyone, isn't it? This isn't just for people with SPS. This is life and living.
Absolutely.
Sleep. We all need to do it.
We all need to do it. And I think you're absolutely right. This can't be forced. And I always say, this is always my advice, is if you're out of sync in your body, if your body is just all over the place and your mind is almost dragging your body to places, and you know we speak of this, that beautiful quote that you started with, and my regular saying of my mind's writing checks that my body can't cash.
Oh, let me read it.
Oh, have you not read? Oh, okay.
It's here. It's right
there.
Here. It's on the calendar, beautiful souls.
Oh, do you know what it was? Do you know what happened there? Is because we had our moment of meditation, and you read that to bring us into a moment of calm. So
we did.
Please proceed.
let me read it. Yesterday is a cancelled check. Tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is the only cash you have, so spend it wisely.
Isn't that wonderful? And it's very much like the spoon theory as well, you know, just if family members are struggling to understand where this one dynamic individual who could spin all the plates and survived on 4 hours of sleep and wore it with a badge of honour that she didn't need sleep, you know, sometimes using theories like the spoon theory, allowing others to read it, can sometimes help them understand why you need to go into a state of rest and relaxation, why you can only manage to do an hour of something and then you have to go and rest for 3 or 4 hours. So sometimes as well, just being able to help family members understand if perhaps
absolutely,
carers and children.
I think you saying that brings us into the segment of acceptance.
Yeah.
For even ourselves, of only being able to do that, whatever it is, for a small amount of time, and like you said, then having to rest for those 3-4 hours, or maybe the rest of the day until the following day. I know I've had this conversation with you quite a lot with, I am most at peace. I find my healing being in nature, sitting at the mountain with my coffee. And I only get to do that maybe once, twice a week if I am lucky. And then I am floored, and I have to stop that frustration with myself. Be accepting, be okay with that, because if we can't be okay with that, how do we expect the people who love us to understand and be okay with that? If you notice, it's our fight against ourselves that makes it so much harder. And this is why I say to you, I walk alongside SPS, I do not fight it. I walk alongside fatigue, I do not fight it. Am I always in that frame of mind? Hell no. hell no, and I will stamp my feet like a 2-year-old and I will have a tantrum and I will be, but why? I want to do this. I want to be out in the world. I want to be working. I want to be making a difference. I want to be serving others. I want to be a good mum. I want to be a good wife, daughter, sister, granddaughter, and the list goes on and on and on. And then everything feels like it is coming in and like that. I am not in the eye of the storm, am I? I am out there in the craziness of it.
Mm-hmm.
So come back to center, have a chat with my beautiful friend, and know all is well. All is well.
All is well. And I think even just connecting with that is when you spoke of meditation. And if you are listening to it or trying to follow a meditation, it can, if you can only manage 5 minutes, you can really start to allow that inner critic to come on board, and it's like, oh gosh, you can't even do the meditation.
I know. I did that to myself this morning, 6 o'clock, with a morning gratitude meditation. I couldn't take the woman's voice. I couldn't take the sounds. I couldn't settle into it. And I was like, no. So I had to do my own silent in my own mind, because I was like, and I felt like that. But then I had to let it go and say, no, it's okay. Maybe later, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
But all is well. I'll get back to it. It's fine.
Yeah, and I am very much like that at the moment, where some guided meditations, I know Headspace has a panic button for people if perhaps that's an app that they're using. It's not one that I use.
No, me neither. I didn't know that. So
yeah,
that's helpful.
It is helpful. But as you say, what I have found is actually bringing myself into my own guided meditation with, just going into the silence and doing a body scan, and really just talking myself through everything in that inner dialogue. And as you say, there are many. In fact, I don't know the last time that I actually followed a full meditation. And I'll let you into a secret as well. After completing the 13 week of mindfulness, the course that I embarked upon as part of my journey, I was referred into the Centre for Integrative Care. Often when I had to take myself off camera because I was so distracted. And I had to have Monty there. He somehow, the self-trained therapy dog's like, don't worry, I'm on my way. What do you need?
Oh, he's beautiful.
And
he
his
really
head,
is.
He's an angel. And, he would just come and lie his head. Don't get me wrong, Lindsay. He's benefiting from this as well, because he's getting a good ear scratch, So I'm not sure if it's fully altruistic, his motion, his motivation. But I would have to just sit with him and look into his face and do, funny faces into his, and, boop our noses together. And I felt awful, but I had, because when they were taking us through the meditation, I was panicking. Yeah. And I was thinking, I don't feel great. I'm not good in the morning. I've not had a good sleep. I know this should be a moment of rest and relaxation, but actually it's a scheduled moment of rest and relaxation. It's almost like I have to be part of this, which was wonderful, and I found so much benefit. I gained so much from it, rather. But somebody telling me now we're going to meditate was like, I can't. My brain's not there. My body's been in a place of, I've had to sit up, I've had to smile to the camera, I've had to engage. I can't suddenly switch off and go into a meditative state. So I think that's really important as well, not to be beating yourself up. But if we flip this on its head and think about the benefits of rest and relaxation throughout the day, one of the things I love is a massage, and I've not been for one in a long, long time. And I always remember reading about an hour of massage, deep tissue massage, can equate to 7 or 8 hours sleep. And you have to be very careful when you see something like that in a health centre. It doesn't mean that you don't have to sleep that night. It just means that your body's releasing serotonin. It's allowing the melatonin levels to come up, so you start to feel sleepy. And you probably will start to feel more sleepy at bedtime. But you and I often speak of this like, I'm going to go for a snooze. Well, for me, it's a 10-minute snooze. Sometimes you will say, I'm going to go silent for a while. I'm going to put my phone away. I need to go and rest. And how do you feel that that's factoring into our well-being journey? So for me, those moments of silence, of guided meditation, I speak of this cortisol, this adrenaline button. It just stops that button being pressed. I know my limit now. I listen to my body. And one of the triggers, or not the triggers, rather, the signs is my swallow starts to struggle. And I start to, and I'm aspirating on my saliva, and I can't swallow my medication. And my tongue feels as though it's falling to the back of my throat, and my neck can't support itself. And
it's like the head feels too heavy.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's a very strange sensation.
But it's the heaviest part of the body is the head.
Can I just ask you something, just backtracking a little bit with regards to the massage. Touch is something I can't tolerate anymore. And I'm just wondering, when it's something so beautiful that can give so many health benefits, can you tolerate massage and touch?
Yeah.
Because it either triggers me spasm-wise, or it causes so much pain, even when my husband rubs like my shoulders out and my back, the following day, it really, really hurts. So even though when he was doing it very gently, it was giving so much relief, so much tension release, the following day, I'm in bits. I feel like I've done sort of an upper body workout.
Yeah, I think that can be quite common if it's a deep tissue massage, but I can tolerate massage, and it's something actually that I really appreciate when my husband or one of the kids will just come and say, "I'll just rub that wee bit of your back, straighten that back up."
Oh, that's lovely.
Straighten that back up, Mum. And I'm like, "Oh gosh, okay, posture," but I can relate to that, because when I was in that really difficult spell, I have a lovely friend who is an aromatherapist, but a complementary therapist as well. And we both know her from our lovely skincare routine.
ARC products. Yes, I love ARC products.
Oh, they're amazing. But she had said, let's try some reflexology. And I kid you not, and the touch was so gentle in my foot. But the next day I couldn't walk and I was scared. And when I messaged her, she said that can be quite normal, but it wasn't really normal in the sense of inverted commas normal. It was my body just was like, what on earth are you doing to me?
Yeah.
I cannot take any more, information or input. Just allow me to breathe, sleep and eat. That's all I need to do.
Yeah.
Going straight back to basics of what does a baby need to survive. It needs nourishment, it needs sleep, and it needs to feel safe. And that's basically what I would say is go back to basics. But I do enjoy a massage. It's something that I'm missing, actually, to be honest with you, to be able to book myself in and say, right, iron out these creases, correct my posture, do with me what you will.
Maybe there is something that you can treat yourself to for your birthday.
Oh, yes. Listen, I want to bring this up. I know you're laughing and you're like, please no. But Lindsay sent me a message.
As I'm hiding.
Yeah. She said, I'm pushing 50. And I actually sent her a message back because we're both the same age. And I said to her, excuse me, but I'm not pushing 50. I'm resting in my early 40s. So please come back and rest in the early 40s.
Maybe it was a typo.
No, it was a voice recording. Oh dear. But as I say, just this rest and relaxation throughout the day. I think we both are products of positivity and how this actually is beneficial, how this really can help with the SPS symptoms, heat, rest, relaxation, bringing your attention to the breath, slowing down the mind. it is all a biological response as well. It's stopping the cortisol. It's trying to deal with symptom management so that it doesn't go into this florid and very difficult space of being very overly symptomatic, if that's even a phrase that could describe it aptly. But even for those who are not experiencing SPS, it's something that I think everyone should practice. I think just even if it's in your car and you have a takeaway coffee, is just sitting for 5 minutes and enjoying the moment with the coffee, being mindful of the coffee. And we've spoken of this, haven't we, of how on those days I just feel the heat of my cup in my fingers, and I enjoy having to move my fingers around so that they don't get burned with the heat coming off of a very hot cup of tea. And then, just feeling it going down my throat and hitting my stomach, and it's gentle, and I'm breathing, just blowing, allowing the steam to come off the cup of tea, just watching the cup of tea. It sounds bizarre, but it's in a bubble of mindfulness. It's just a moment of being very present, very calm.
See, I can connect with that fully. The way you're talking about the cup is the way that I am with nature. So watching birds, or the cloud watching, or on, if I'm not able to get out and about, everybody has clouds, everybody has a sky over them, so that is the one thing you can turn to if there are no birds, for instance, because of where you live in, maybe you're, I don't know, in an apartment or something. And there's not much greenery around you and what have you. But on the weekend, I was thinking about you actually saying to me, be more dog.
Be more dog.
There was this squirrel that was drinking from a little waterfall that I caught on the camera when I was videoing for some footage, for our other videos. And I was just in the moment with this squirrel. We can learn so much about being in the moment when we look at wildlife, and they just go about their business. They're so methodical, but they're in the moment, in the present, and just doing what they need to do to keep themselves happy, healthy. They rest when they need to, they eat when they need to, they drink when they need to, they play when they want to and need to. And I think it is just a beautiful place to be, is just look at the birds, look at the squirrels, the rabbits, the deer. My husband sent me photos of deer yesterday. There are now 4 baby deers, and he was there in the moment, in the present, just being. And I think that is just a starting block for anyone, just being.
Absolutely. Lindsay, I think we could discuss this till the day is long, and I know our personal messages are full of chat on sleep and being one with nature and being more dog, being more like Monty.
Being more dog.
Monty's awareness and philosophical approach to life is one of that I admire immensely. That and his black fluffy curls that I speak of often, they're so soft and bouncy, and just everyone, we're like, come here and have a hug, Monty, but it's really because we love the feel of him and the heat that comes off him and the rhythm of his breath as well. It's wonderful. But as I say, I think we could discuss this till the day is long. But what I do think is being mindful of where we have been the last few days, with our sleep patterns being disturbed, and really needing to tap into our toolbox and pulling out everything, and perhaps looking for extra tools is perhaps, this brings us to a place of natural close today to go and have some rest, relaxation and replenishment. And I would encourage our listeners perhaps to take that opportunity to stop for a drink, or if you're in the house, just to stop for a moment. And therefore, Lindsay and I had discussed last night that perhaps at the end of this podcast, to encourage you just to stop, press pause, have a moment of allowing your mind just to settle. And therefore, we're going to leave you with one of our favourite sounds of nature, which is rainfall.
Love the rain.
So Thank you once again for joining us today, and I will just end with saying enjoy the rainfall, enjoy your moment of being present with yourself, enjoy your moment of self-care, and until next time, lots of love. Thank you for listening to today's episode. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, SPS Unscripted Podcast. If you would prefer to DM us privately, then do so with the Facebook Messenger app. We're also over on Instagram, SPS Unscripted Podcast 1, all one word. A gentle reminder, we are not medical professionals. This content is reflective of personal journeys where we follow advice from our medical teams, and we strongly advise that you always consult your medical professional for advice.